Okay, so I'm back, and right now I wanted to do just a little talking about spiritual awakenings. All right. Where we're at in the world today and how spiritual awakenings is playing a part in the changing of our reality and how we're defining ourselves. And, this is personal for me, and it comes full circle for me because me doing readings and, teaching people to become aware of themselves, using the tarot, astrology, and whatever else I can use, my creativity, it's been coming, it's a little strenuous sometimes because a lot of people are being asked to awaken to the fact that there's no separation between spirituality, who they are spiritually, and what they do physically or what they can do physically. There's no separation because that mind equals matter. What you can think, you can become. And it works on an individual level all the way up to the collective. And this is why it's so important, because what we believe on the individual level is what we teach others to believe. Okay. And what others are taught to believe it starts forming from individual to collective to mass collective to the universe. And we're sending active signals to the universe of this is what we've created. Okay. And in order to break that down, we have to awaken spiritually, evolve, and we have to bring that sense of self in and reteach people and re-demonstrate our energetic purpose into the collective to change the world, to change our experience. This will be massive because it takes us outside of what we're able to comprehend and understand right now, to let us explore other planets and to let us reach past what we know to be true at this moment in time. And it comes from the mind. It starts with the mind. People will tell you all day, you're crazy, and get out of your mind. Get out of your mind. The universe is saying, no, we're not living in our feelings. We're not living in what we perceive to be true as just facts across the line, facts across the board. What makes us comfortable in our existence? No, we are expanding past what that is, and we're using our mind to expand past what that is, because if you can comprehend it, if you can think it, bring it from the subconscious, that spiritual state of being, to the forefront, to the consciousness, to our consciousness, through our mind, through our mental capabilities, then we can achieve it. We can see the changes happen. A lot of people were stuck. So their spiritual awakenings comes when you're triggered. When we're triggered, it's usually through another person. And this is where we're getting that twin flame thing. Okay. And it's usually requiring a lot, which is really not a lot according to our spiritual higher selves, but to our physical selves and how we operate and what we've created, it seems like a lot, because these awakenings is requiring us to come out of how we usually act, how we usually perceive things, and to expand what that looks like and what that is. This is what a spiritual awakening is all about. And it's hurtful and it's painful. It's hurt. Listen, I'm going to tell you guys a little story. That is something personally associated to my own spiritual awakening process. It was painful. When I woke up, the craziest thing, and I know some of you guys can relate to me. Somebody, through the whole time, people were coming, they were telling me things, all along. And shedding more light, providing me with more knowledge. I was looking at videos, you know, I was looking at what other people were teaching and everything. And it was like certain things just still didn't click. It was like I was missing what was being shown to me. You know, I'm talking about on a massive level, you know, here and there, you know, but I would be like, okay, that's true. But I would go back to my comfort zone. But when I really, it'll be like something, it was something that came along that triggered me on a deep level, on a profound level. And it'll be something, one little thing that I'm not even necessarily looking for. It'll come up because that's the best way to awaken. And it sheds a whole light on religion and everything, like my existence, like it did something to my existence. And then whatever triggered me sent me into a massive awakening. And I was like, oh my God, it was almost like I was able to see through everything. And you couldn't just present anything to me anymore. You know, everything was in question. And it changed around my whole life, everything for me. But it was painful because I had to, it was hurtful to realize the truth about some things, about myself, about my situation, about life, about like how much time I wasted, what I didn't know, having to forgive, having to accept, having to understand. And it was painful. And I cried and I hurt and I put the blame on other people and I sabotaged myself. Like I did that a good amount of times before I just decided to accept who I am and what was coming up for me. My ego had to evolve, not become obsolete. I promise you, there's people in the world today that's not awakened and they are egoless and they don't know who they are. They have no identity in the world. People run over them. So it's not about saying that we're egoless. This is about maturing our understanding of who we are, because that's what the ego is about. And parting ways with that, allowing ourselves to be humble enough to understand that there's a higher level that we can vibrate on. Like that's painful, awakening to the fact of, I thought I knew myself too. I didn't know ish about myself really, but it was there. It was dormant inside. And the spiritual awakening process goes and takes you within to bring what's laying dormant about yourself from the inside to the outside. Now, in the environment that we're finding ourselves in right now, energetically, there's ways that we can do that and feel more comfortable with doing that, because there's like-minded people that we come across, like you guys came across me with the click of a button. You see what I'm saying? But in the past, the reason why it's taken some people longer to get to this point, they didn't have that comfort. They didn't feel comfortable. You know, they didn't have that support system. You could have been thinking the same thing as another person, but it's like, how dare you challenge it, you know? And it pushed the need of the inner self to come out back in. And it just laid dormant in our existence, in the subconscious, in our subconsciousness, waiting for a time when things will energetically pick up. And that's why you're finding this is not about judging, or this is not about age or none of that, because you're finding older people waking up. And I honestly feel like this will prolong our lifespan once we all collectively gain the power, like strength together, okay, to change up our belief system, you know. So you'll find people in their 50s, 60s, 70s waking up, and you're like, oh my gosh, like you're trying to be a musician now, you're trying to be creative now. And it's like, yes, I am. And we need that. We don't need you to shy away, because the beings that's coming in now, oh, they're on 10, they're on 100, okay? And we don't need our world stifling them, because everybody knows when you come in, when you sign up for whatever you sign up for, and you come in and to live out your soul mission, that gets suppressed through the birth, through energetically entering into this atmosphere alone. But we got some powerful beings coming through. You see, but still, it's like we go through a forgetfulness, and then when we come in, you getting reacquainted, and then you have these people that's parenting you or that's in your surroundings saying you're crazy, you're this, you're that, you should be ashamed, like talking to you in certain types of ways. You tend to lay dormant what you know, what you came in with, and pick up on what they're giving you to pick up on. This happens to almost everybody, or everybody, okay? So, you got to keep this in mind. You know, like, people, spiritual awakenings can happen at any time. It's like all along, your spirit guides, the angels, universe, whatever, is giving you signs, synchronicities, numbers. And yes, out of fear, some people will revert back. And depending on where you're at in your life, you could go from spirituality to religion. You can go from religion to spirituality. You can go from, you know, depending, you know, doing tarot to saying, you know, I'm free from that because I'm letting the higher power guide me. Whatever. You can go from what you need to go through, and what phases that looks like at any point in time, depending on what you need to know, how spirit needs to advance you. Now, what I will say is this, you know, depending on what level you're at, what I will say is this, like a lot of the higher spiritual beings that's come in to change the world. Oh, no. You are getting snapped from or zapped from, you know, this stuff that you're hanging on to, information, history, religion, all that, to nothingness, because you don't, it's like the universe is, you come in and your soul blueprint is saying you don't need that stuff to learn. No, like, you're very powerful. It's in you. Let it go. You know, you got to let it go. You have to break free from all of this stuff and be into the zone of nothingness to be you. Okay. In order to create the change. If that makes any sense. But yes, the age doesn't matter. That's not significant. People are definitely waking up, and you have the adversary, you know, the lower level energy, the lower vibrations, the adversary in general, because, you know, in being dualistic, we always want to, it's like the adversary always, the adversity within us shows up on the outside of us. Like, you know, we don't have to have a dualistic nature, but that's how we showed up. You get what I'm saying? Because of our own consciousness. All right. And the adversary comes because it's like those people that's like, I'm fine in denial. What are you talking about? But that's when you're asked, your soul blueprint shines, and that's when you're asked to stay true to you, or are you going to fall victim to what other people are saying you should be, and things fall apart. You leave partners that you're with, whatever plan you have for your life. You know, and you get asked to be true to who you are. And, you know, it's a painful process a lot of times because we don't give up willingly. We go kicking and screaming. But the pain is there to push us to another place. So it's like during your spiritual awakening, if you got to cry, freaking cry. And this is for the men too. Like, I got a lot of men that follow me. And it's because I come from a very logical place. And logic should not be denied here. This is not about denying logic, because really, logic can easily become wisdom. It's just about expanding in what that logic is, not completely denying yourself of logic. Could you imagine if we had no logic in the world? We wouldn't, nothing would be created. So it's not about getting rid of our mind. It's about expanding in the state of mind that we present in our existence. Where are you at? Are you in the process of a spiritual awakening? Have you went through that spiritual awakening? What is it saying to you? What did it bring to your life? How do you incorporate that in transforming your life and into the world? And you can start real small by just letting your child know, starting with your child, if that's where you want to start, with your lineage, if that's where you want to start, and letting them know that they are not limited to the things that you were limited to and we were limited to as human beings in the past. Okay? I'm Butterfly to Light. I'll be back. Peace.